Welcome to Creata classes. In this lecture, we will find the angle between the two lines in terms of their slope. Let's take two lines L1 and L2. These two lines are non-vertical line and these two lines are intersecting with each other. That is, these two lines are not parallel and these two lines are not vertical. Here, as I have already told, we will deal with only the non-vertical line. Why? Because the slope of the vertical line is not defined. So we are limiting ourselves to non-vertical lines only. Here in this lecture, we will try to find the angle between these two lines, that is L1 and L2. So let's assume this angle as angle theta, that is the angle between these two lines. And let's also assume the slope of the first line, that is L1 as M1, and the slope of the second line L2 as M2. So basically in this lecture, we will try to find the value of theta, that is the angle between the two lines in terms of their slope, that is in terms of M1 and M2. We basically will try to derive the formula of theta in terms of M1 and M2. Okay. So this is the foundation of the lecture. Let's begin with the lecture. Here, let's assume the inclination of line L1 as alpha 1 and inclination of line L2 as alpha 2. Okay, alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the inclination of line L1 and L2 respectively. Moving further, we got the inclination of both the line. So can we calculate the slope of both of these lines? So the slope of line L1, that is M1, will be equal to tan alpha 1, and slope of the second line, that is L2, will be equal to tan of alpha 2. Okay. We got slope of both of these lines. Further, the angle between both of these lines we have assumed as angle theta. But if we say what is the angle between the two lines, either this is the angle or this is the angle between the two lines. Are you getting what I am saying? If we talk about two lines and if we talk about what is the angle between these two lines, either this is the angle or this is the angle between these two lines. Okay, let's assume this angle as angle phi. These angles are vertically opposite angle and these angles are also vertically opposite angle. So if we talk about two intersecting line, then total two angles will be formed between these two lines. Either this is the angle or this is the angle. So here in this lecture, we will calculate both of this angle. One angle will be acute angle and obviously the other will be obtuse angle. The same we will discuss in detail after getting the formula of this angle theta. So for the time being, let's move further. Here, if you observe this figure, are you able to observe a triangle inside this figure? This is the triangle and alpha 2 is the exterior angle for this triangle and alpha 1 is the interior angle, and this angle will be equal to angle theta. As these are vertically opposite angle, so these angles will be equal to angle theta. So basically, we got two interior angles for this triangle and one exterior angle. So can we apply the exterior angle property of the triangle? That is, exterior angle is equal to sum of two opposite interior angle. That is, alpha 2 will be equal to alpha 1 plus theta. So basically, we got a equation. From this equation, can we calculate the value of theta? Theta will be equal to alpha 2 minus alpha 1. Okay. Can we write this as tan theta is equal to tan of alpha 2 minus alpha 1? Here, can we rewrite this tan alpha 2 minus alpha 1 as tan alpha 2 minus tan alpha 1 upon 1 plus tan alpha 1 into tan alpha 2. Basically, we have applied the trigonometric formula of tan A minus B, which is equal to tan A minus tan B upon 1 plus tan A into tan B. This is a trigonometric formula of tan A minus B, which we have covered in our trigonometry lecture. Okay, so this is the formula. Moving further, here tan alpha 2 is M2, that is slope of the line L2, and tan alpha 1 is the slope of line L1, that is M1. Okay, so let's replace the term. we got tan theta is equal to m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. So basically this is the formula of theta, that is tan theta is equal to m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. Okay, we got the formula of the tan theta, that is the angle between the line L1 and L2. Moving further, just as I have said earlier, here two angles are formed between the two intersecting lines, that is angle theta and angle phi, and we have calculated the value of angle theta. Let's see the value of angle phi. Here these two angles are coming on line L2. So basically theta and phi are forming the linear pair of angle, that is theta plus phi will be equal to 180 degree. So again we got an equation. So can we calculate the value of angle phi from this equation? So we got phi is equal to 180 degree minus theta. Therefore tan phi is equal to tan 180 degree minus theta. And we know the formula of tan 180 degree minus theta is equal to minus theta. It is coming in the second quadrant, so it is negative. Further, just now we have seen the value of tan theta, which is equal to m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. So can we replace tan theta with this formula? Let's do so. We got tan phi is equal to minus m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. This is the formula of angle phi. So basically we got two formula, one of angle theta and one of angle phi. That is, these are the two angles between the two intersecting lines. Further, if you observe both of this formula, here m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2 is common in both the formula. Only the difference between both of the formula is positive and negative symbol. Tan theta it is positive symbol and tan phi is negative symbol. So we got two cases here. In the first case, value of this term can be positive, and in the second case, value of this term is negative. Let's see both the cases separately. Let's take the case 1. If value of this term is positive, then tan theta will be positive and tan phi will be negative. Okay, simple mathematics. If this is positive, then tan theta will be positive and tan phi will be negative. What does this mean? It means that tan theta is positive, that is theta is coming in the first quadrant, and tan phi is negative, means angle phi is coming in the second quadrant. Theta is in the first quadrant and phi is in the second quadrant. Means theta range from 0 to 90, that is theta is acute angle, and phi range from 90 degree to 180 degree, that is phi is an obtuse angle. Okay, are you getting? Tan theta is positive, and we know tan theta is positive in first quadrant, and we know tan is negative in the second quadrant. Here we are talking only about the theta and phi in the range of 0 to 180 degree. That is, only the first quadrant and second quadrant are coming into the picture. And in the first quadrant, all trigonometric ratios are positive, so tan will be positive. And in the second quadrant, tan is negative because only sine is positive in the second quadrant. Okay, this concept we have covered in the trigonometry, so we will not go into the detail of this concept. Just you should know that in the first quadrant tan is positive and in the second quadrant tan is negative. Okay, if tan theta is positive, means theta is coming in the first quadrant, that is theta is in the range of 0 to 90, that is acute angle. And tan phi is negative, that is it is coming in second quadrant, and phi is in the range of 90 to 180, that is obtuse angle. Are you catching this concept? Okay. So this is the first case, that is theta is acute and phi is obtuse. So let's take the second case. If the value of this term is negative, then tan theta will be negative and tan phi will be positive. Okay, tan theta is negative and tan phi, negative into negative, it will comes out to be positive. It means that theta is coming in second quadrant, that is theta is obtuse, and angle phi is coming in first quadrant, that is phi is acute. Okay, got it? A small understanding. So basically from both of these terms, we got a concept, that is m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2, that is this term can be positive or negative. Okay, and based on this term we can decide whether the angle is acute angle or obtuse angle. So can we write the formula of tan theta as mod of m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2? Okay, we have used the mod because either this term is positive or this term is negative. So we have used the mod symbol. Otherwise, if in the question you got a direct value of the slope, that is m1 and m2, you can directly put into the formula and you can get the value of theta as either acute or obtuse, whatever the result that is coming by putting the values of the slopes. Once you got one angle, that is theta, you can easily calculate the other angle by subtracting it from 180 degree. Okay, so this is a concept that you should know. Okay, let's take example to show the implementation of this formula. We are having two lines. The slope of first line is given as 1 by root 3 and the slope of second line is given as root 3, and we have to calculate the angle between these two lines. So let's proceed with this question. So here let's assume the slope of first line as m1. Here m1 is equal to 1 by root 3 and slope of second line as m2. So here m2 is equal to root 3. We got the value of m1 and m2. So let's calculate the angle between these two lines. We will use our formula, that is tan theta is equal to m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. So let's put the value. So on putting the value, we got tan theta is equal to 1 by root 3. So on solving, we got theta is equal to 60 degree. That is, we got one angle between the line L1 and L2, that is theta is equal to 60 degree. Let's find the other angle. We know sum of both of this angle is equal to 180 degree, that is these angles are forming the linear pair. So we can find the other angle is equal to 180 degree minus 60 degree, that will comes out to be 120 degree. So we got one angle as 60 degree and we got other angle as 120 degree. These angles are between the line L1 and L2. That is the answer of this question. Moving further, we can also use the alternate method, that is we can use the mod formula. Okay, let's use the mod formula. We know tan theta is equal to mod of m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. Let's put the same value. We got tan theta is equal to mod of 1 by root 3. Here 1 by root 3 is under the mod. So let's open the mod. So we got two cases. In the first case, we got tan theta is equal to plus 1 by root 3. And in the second case, we got tan theta is equal to minus 1 by root 3. Okay, we have opened the mod and we got two cases. One is in the plus and second is in the negative. Let's solve both the cases. In the first case, we got theta is equal to 60 degree. And in the second case, we got theta is equal to 120 degree. That is, we got two angles. One is acute and one is obtuse. Means these two angles are the angles formed between the line L1 and L2. That is the answer of this question. Okay, got it? Let's move further and let's take one more question. If the angle between two lines is pi by 4 and slope of one of the line is 1 by 2, find the slope of the other line. Let's approach this question. Here the angle between the two lines is given as pi by 4. So let's assume the theta as pi by 4, that is the angle between the two lines. Slope of first line is given as 1 by 2, that is m1 is given as 1 by 2, and we have to find the slope of the second line, that is we have to calculate m2. So let's use our formula, that is tan theta is equal to mod of m2 minus m1 upon 1 plus m1 into m2. So let's put the value. We got tan pi by 4 is equal to m2 minus 1 by 2 upon 1 plus half into m2. And tan pi by 4 is equal to 1. So let's put the value. Here this term is in the mod, means this is either positive or this is negative. So let's take two cases. That is, in the first case this is equal to 1 and in the second case it is equal to -1. On solving, we got m2 is equal to 3 or m2 is equal to -1 by 3. So basically we got two values of m2. That is, in the first case m2 is 3 and in the second case m2 is -1 by 3. Okay? We got two values of m2, that is m2 is equal to 3 and m2 is equal to -1 by 3. It means two lines are possible which are making angle of pi by 4 with our first line. Okay? But what it is symbolizing? For that we have to take our coordinate system and we have to again observe the question. Okay? Here this question is talking about a line whose slope is 1 by 2. And we have to find the second line which is making angle of pi by 4 or 45 degree with this line. So as per this answer, two lines are possible. The first line with the slope of 3 and the second line with the slope of -1 by 3. So these two lines are possible which are making angle of pi by 4 or 45 degree with our first line. Okay, our answer is matching with the coordinate system. That is, we can form two lines which are having angle of 45 degree with our first line. Here if you observe, the slope of this line is +3, that is, it is moving in the northeast direction. And slope of this line is -1 by 3, that is, slope is negative, means this line is moving in northwest direction. Okay? Now I think you are in a better position to correlate this question with the coordinate system figure. Okay? So that's it for this lecture. Thank you very much for being with Creata classes.